Welcome to the Robby Row Show. I am your host, Robbie Rowland. You are listening to episode 62 with James Swanwick. Let's hear a soundbite from James.
Nighttime, if you're brushing your teeth in the bathroom light, that light is tricking your body into thinking it's daytime. It's literally stimulating your pineal and pituitary glands. And when your pituitary and pineal glands are stimulated, you don't produce as much melatonin, which therefore means you don't sleep as well.
Listening to Clear the Mechanism. The Robby Row Show. The Robby Row Show.
Well, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Robby Rowland on another episode of the Robby Row Show. Episode 62, I bring on James Swanwick, entrepreneur, author, former ESPN Anchor, podcaster. This dude, I mean, he's impressive, right? I step out of my space, of my like baseball space a little bit. I like to bring guys on like James who can talk a little bit about how to optimize health, longevity, all of that kind of stuff, because it allows me to kind of geek out and bring awareness to, things in life that are essentially bigger than baseball, and James and I, we talked for about 35 minutes, but everything in here is awesome. James, like I said, man, like impressive dude. He was named to the Forbes list of 25 professional networking experts. He's got his story is good. Obviously I don't want to spoil it, I guess, too much, but we'll talk about it in the show, kind of how he's evolved throughout his life and the steps that he's taken to get to where he is now. And I think you guys know, I say it a lot of my shows, like I love bringing guys on and hearing about their story, not having known them. This is James and I's first conversation. So it's interesting. I do hope you guys enjoy this episode. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. This episode is actually brought to you by no other than James' company, Swanwick Sleep. You guys, I won't talk about the company and the benefit and like all of that, because we really do dive in hard in this episode about sleep quality, how to optimize your sleep, why optimizing your sleep allows for better production, cognitive function, like all of those things we talk about in the episode. So I really, just before the show, I just want to thank James. I just partnered with Swanwick Sleep, as an affiliate. They're going to sponsor this episode. So they're going to allow all my podcast listeners a 15% discount code, which is just Robby, ROBBY at checkout. I'll link all the websites that you can find James at. I'll link the website in which you can buy the Swannies, which you'll hear in the episode are the blue light blocking glasses that you can purchase and use my discount code to save you 15%. But that'll all be in the show notes. But if you don't want to go to the show notes, I guess just go to swanwicksleep.com and then enter discount code ROBBY. That's Robby at discount code Robby. I don't know how many times I can say it, Robby, at checkout. Okay, yeah. So thanks for James coming on. Again, Swanwick Sleep, get you optimizing your sleep, and appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy episode 62 with James Swanwick. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Robby Row Show. My special guest today has probably the coolest accent that I've heard so far on my show, James Swanwick. Hey, how we doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Robbie, thanks so much. Great to be here, mate.
Yeah, so like, mate, that's like saying like, hey, what's up, man, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, bro, dude, how you doing? Stuff.
Oh, so it's funny, man, because like I've said this publicly too, is like the most, I'm not a jealous person, but I am very envious of that accent. That is like, to me, that's like the coolest thing, man. So like maybe if we talk long enough, maybe you can like give me some of that accent, or is there any like cues or some things that I need to do to attain that, or is that
just don't say throw another shrimp on the barbie, because we never say that.
That's like a thing that everyone thinks of, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's frustrating. So, man, like I said before we hopped on here, dude, is like, I like to give you the floor. Obviously, like I I did a little bit of research and dove down the rabbit hole of your personal journey and your life, man. And I have to say, you're killing it. I mean, you've been killing it for a numerous amount of years, man. So if you can, I know that's pretty much a loaded question to start the show off. But give us your background, man. Like what kind of prompted you into this lifestyle entrepreneurship that you're doing today?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Brisbane, Australia, and I was a journalist right out of high school. And then I went over to London for about 4 years in my early 20s. Made a big mistake, fell in love with a British woman who broke my heart. And then I decided I was going to go over to the US because I wasn't ready to go back to Australia yet. So I flew into Los Angeles September 30th, 2002. And I lived in the Hermosa Beach hostel for about 90 days and 90 nights, paying $15 a night in a bunk bed with other snoring backpackers. And then I turned myself into an entertainment journalist. So I started interviewing movie stars like Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. And then I started a PR company in the late 2000s, but I lost that business when the financial crisis came. And so I went off to go and live in Argentina for 6 months to lick my wounds and drink some wine and eat steak and dance tango. And when I came back to Los Angeles, I quit alcohol and my life just transformed. I actually I became a sports center anchor on ESPN in 2010 through 2012, and then I quit that to go and be an entrepreneur. And now I have two main businesses. I help people sleep better through my sleep company called Swanwick Sleep, and our main product is a pair of blue light blocking glasses, affectionately known as Swannies, which blocks the artificial blue light at night. And wearing those in the last hour before sleep can help you sleep better. And then I also help entrepreneurs and business owners and people around the world quit drinking so they can, have more clarity, focus, and make more money and do more good in the world.
Yeah, totally. Man, there's so many rabbit holes that I want to dive into first, because I think my audience knows that I'm kind of like I would say like a low key geek. I don't really publicly say it, but I totally geek out about this pretty much optimization stuff. But I want to dive into the depths of like entrepreneurship, right? So like, what kind of prompted you into that stage of your life to really go, yeah, you know what, this is what I want to do, kind of get out of the corporate world and dive into that?
Well, I think SportsCenter and ESPN was just fantastic. I mean, I loved every moment of it, but it was still a job, and I still had a boss, and it was still corporate America.
Right.
So I still had to live in Bristol, Connecticut, which is kind of like social suicide if you're not married and you don't have a family. And as good as it was watching sport all day and being on TV and having a Z level of fame, if you like, I still had to work for someone. Someone still dictated what I did when I did it. And so I just had this dream of traveling the world as an online entrepreneur and being bound by nothing. So I took a chance and I quit. And to be honest with you, I really struggled for about 18 months, 2 years, to the point where I really only generated about $10,000 for myself in that time. From when I left ESPN, it was pretty soul crushing. But, I invested in a coach and a mentor who helped me, and now some years later, everything's groovy, I guess you could say.
Groovy, I love it, dude. So it was funny because, like I said, I didn't know that whole your ESPN sports background. So, like, what was it like growing up for you? Was there what were the main sports for you, and then what kind of fueled that passion for sports to get you to be an anchor for SportsCenter?
Well, I grew up playing cricket, which not many Americans would be interested in.
That sport is crazy, by the way. I mean, like, I think today's day and age is cool too because we have like YouTube, right? So like you see the highlights, and I mean, those are like some freak athletes. Sorry to interrupt you, but like that to me, that is a sport and a half.
Yeah, well, I grew up playing cricket and rugby, and so I played rugby 20 years. And I played cricket for just that amount of time. So cricket was my summer sport. I guess the closest to cricket might be baseball, and rugby was my winter sport, and the closest to that would be American football.
Right.
They were my two main sports. I played rugby for Los Angeles Rugby Club as well when I first got here in the early to mid 2000s. So sport was always a big part of my life. And, I went to a high school which really promoted sport. I was good at it. The Australian culture really is very supportive and encouraging of sport. And so, we had I just loved it. And then when I came to America, I'd always been a Denver Broncos fan. I remember wow. I was in Brisbane, Australia. I was 14 years old, and I turned on the TV one Monday morning, and the Super Bowl was on. It was Super Bowl in 1989. It was, and the San Francisco 49ers just destroyed John Elway and the Denver Broncos,
right.
like 55 to 10. And I really liked the Broncos' orange jerseys. I thought the name John Elway was just so American and so cool. And the Broncos got defeated, and I liked to go for the underdogs. So from that moment on, I became a lifelong Denver Broncos fan. And so years later, when I became a sports center anchor on ESPN, it was a lot of fun getting to do highlights of Tim Tebow when he was the quarterback, when everyone was doing like the Tebowing and he was just like on an absolute run, where the whole world was going crazy over Tebow. And it was just a lot of fun to be able to call Broncos games as a Broncos fan,
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Well, I'm a Northern California product, so I apologize for that for my Niners just stomping y'all. Yeah. but yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about John Elway, because I just actually I was just living in Denver for about like 3 months, I think, and he's got like a car dealership over there. So yeah. It's like that name, yeah, you're right though. It like totally pops out, and I think it attracts customers that way. But so what's that like? Because I read something that you were in Connecticut, you were you're an anchor for SportsCenter, but the SportsCenter that you were an anchor for was airing in Australia.
Yeah, it aired mostly in Australia and in countries outside of the US. So I'd cover Champions League soccer and US Open and all that kind of stuff. And then I appeared on the domestic show a couple times as well. Mostly the version that went out was to an international audience.
Okay, and so you said you were an anchor for 20 years on screen?
No, I was an anchor at ESPN for 2 years.
Okay,
but I was I played rugby for 20 years, but I was on ESPN for 2 years.
And then you were a journalist for 20 years.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. So now I'm like so fascinated with this journey, man. Like it's so crazy. You're doing like so many different avenues of life and all this stuff. So like let's dive into like how did the Swannies thing come about? Obviously there's a call for improving sleep and basically improving total just optimization of one's life. So was that kind of that avenue as far as where you saw a need for the blue light blocking glasses? Yeah.
So like I said before, my main company is Swanwick Sleep. We help people sleep better, and our number one product is these Swannies blue light blocking glasses with the orange lens. Mm-hmm. Do you have a pair?
You know what? I just became an affiliate, so thank you for that opportunity. I'll make sure to link all of the things that we're talking about in the show notes, so my audience can go and check those out. But apparently they're on the way right now, so I'm pretty stoked for that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I was out at Palm Springs in 2015 with a friend of mine, and he was wearing a really ugly pair of orange safety goggles to dinner. And there was a table of very attractive women adjacent to our table, and they were kind of like looking at him funny. And I said to my friend, I said, "You look ridiculous, and you're making me look ridiculous by association." And he said, "No, man, I'm trying to block the blue light." And I said, What are you talking about, block the blue light? And then he went on to explain that all of the light that comes out of our cell phone, our TV screen, our kitchen light, bathroom light, alarm clock light, speedometer light, all of this light at night is disrupting our melatonin production, tricking our bodies and brains into thinking that it's daytime, which then compromises our sleep quality. Now, this can show up with people either not being able to fall asleep quickly enough, or they toss and turn in the night, or even if they sleep 7 or 8 hours, they still wake up feeling tired. Mm-hmm. So there was just one problem. I didn't want to look like a meth chemist wearing these glasses. So I just set out to design a stylish pair of blue light blocking glasses. So I didn't look like some biohacking geek. So I didn't look like, a weirdo. So I didn't look like I was walking down the street going to the gun range with a pair of weird, orange safety goggles on. And so, these glasses that are now called Swannies, they're now renowned, around the world for being the most stylish pair of blue light blocking glasses. And so, really, I guess you could say it was vanity that kind of helped me produce this. I was very health conscious. I wanted to sleep really well, excuse me, but also I was just vain enough that I wanted to look good, and so I created something that's like where style meets health or where health meets style.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, there's definitely a need for that in this world too, right? Because everyone cares about what they look like or how they present themselves socially. So why not? But it's interesting too, because I think this will appeal to my audience because, like I said before we started, was, a lot of younger, I would say like high school athletes, college athletes, they tune in just to find like tips and tricks, hacks if you want, to better improve their athleticism, skill, talent, life in general. So I kind of want to dive into like the importance of sleep, right? And it's one of those things where outside looking in, we can all say, hey, yeah, sleep is important, right? I get it, right? I need to recover and all this, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's the quality of sleep, right, James? It's not like so much the hours, the hours you spend in it, but it's the actual quality of sleep. So can you elaborate on kind of like the sleep that you were getting compared to now that you get having like the Swannies?
Yeah, so my sleep was always okay. It wasn't terrific. It wasn't horrible. It was just kind of like, it was all right. It was okay. And then when I started wearing the blue light blocking glasses, I noticed that I would get sleepier quicker. And when I ultimately removed the glasses and then rolled over and went to sleep, I noticed that I fell asleep quicker. And when I woke up in the morning, I noticed that I felt, far more refreshed than when I didn't wear the glasses. And it makes sense too, right? Because at nighttime, if you're brushing your teeth in the bathroom light, that light is tricking your body into thinking it's daytime. It's literally stimulating your pineal and pituitary glands. And when your pituitary and pineal glands are stimulated, you don't produce as much melatonin, which therefore means you don't sleep as well. So when you put on the glasses, the blue light cannot penetrate that orange lens. It literally cannot get through. And so your body produces the amount of melatonin that nature always intended it to produce. You feel healthy, you sleep the way nature intended you to sleep, and you wake up feeling the way nature intended you to feel. So, block blue light at night and you'll sleep better and ultimately feel better. Yeah,
that's so true, man, especially in like being an entrepreneur, right? I mean, I know for me, and like as I progress from my baseball career into this, entrepreneurial life, I'm staring at a screen all day. And I mean, I'm on my computer, I'm on my cell phone, tablet, and I mean, that's a thing with kids too, is like, even if you go to a school system these days, like whereas you and I grew up with books and pounds of books and all these things that we probably didn't read, but now these kids are like able to access like a tablet at school or, a tablet for homework. And those are the kids that we need to target, because that's like the future generation in regarding to, improving, their quality of life too, right? I mean, like you would say that, what is, I guess, to put it in a question, like, is there a proper age in which you should put it a high priority to wear some like blue light blocking glasses?
Well, kids are most susceptible to blue light because their eyes haven't developed as much. And so if you're staring into an iPad as a kid, or you're watching TV, or you're using phones, then that blue light is blasting your eyes and potentially causing you long-term damage. So you definitely want to put a pair of kids' Swannies on kids to protect their eyes from that blue light. So the younger you can start blocking that light, the better for you, because like I said, your eyes do develop a more of a natural protection as you get older.
Yeah. So I mean, just to like dive into the real details of this. I mean, are you wearing these things throughout the whole entire day and then just taking them off to sleep, or what does that look like for you?
No, I'm wearing them. I wear them in the last hour before I want to sleep consistently, and I do not remove them until I've crawled into bed and switched off the last light. So just to be clear, you don't go to sleep with them on, right? You go to sleep with them off, but you wear them in that last hour before you want to sleep. Now, during the daytime, I do wear them, but not consistently. I just wear them sporadically. Because at daytime, you actually want blue light. You just don't want a concentrated amount of it blasting into your eyes as you stare into a computer screen all day. So what I'll do is I'll put my glasses on for like 10, 15 minutes at a time, and then I'll remove them. and then I'll put them back on again. So throughout the day, I'm using them intermittently, and then at nighttime, I'm using them consistently.
Okay. Yeah, because man, that's interesting. So, okay. So let's kind of switch subjects here. I mean, actually, I want to stay on because I got one more question about that. You talked about the melatonin production, and I'm a big I actually supplement about 2 milligrams of melatonin. Now, because I know the follow up question to that, a lot of my audience will probably have is if it's limiting your melatonin production, can you just supplement the amount that's being limited?
I mean, you can pop melatonin pills and pump it into you if you like. That's good for on occasion. Like if you're flying and you're jet lagged and you really need to sleep, then having some melatonin is fine on occasion. But the moment you start doing that nightly is the moment you become reliant on it, and it's the moment that you cause yourself a lot of problems, because then your body becomes it needs that melatonin in order to sleep. It doesn't produce it naturally. So for sure, the most consistent way I have found so far in my experience has literally been to wear a pair of these glasses at nighttime, and also to expose yourself to as much daylight as possible first thing in the morning. That's a big thing as well.
Yeah, well, I know from my standpoint, being an entrepreneur, I just have such a tough time once the morning rolls around to to really sleep in or do those things, because I mean, you know how it is, man. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to get up and get going, or else you won't make anything that day. So what is I mean, I know we talked about your sleep a little bit earlier, but I mean, are you talking are you getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep, or are you kind of just getting up and just getting that real good quality, talking deep REM sleep and getting after the day?
Yeah. A bit of both. I mean, I try to always sleep 7 to 8 hours, and that works for me. Everyone's different, but generally speaking, 7 or 8 hours is considered the right amount. Some people can sleep 5, some people can sleep 9 or 10. It just depends. But I sleep generally between 7 and 8 hours a night, and the quality is as good as it can get, because I'm taking the necessary steps to make sure I'm optimizing my sleep.
Yeah, totally. Are you doing anything are you because I know there's some, quote unquote, biohacking things that you can implement, either a hot shower, right before bed, turn down the central nervous system, or I know a couple companies out there now that are doing, that little cold mattress pillow type thing. Are you not implementing any of those type hacks, just the blue light blocking glasses?
Yeah, well, there's definitely you want to sleep in a cool environment. Between 65 and 69 degrees Fahrenheit has been shown to be the optimal temperature for best sleep. So there is a device called Chili Pad, which I'm an investor in, which is an underlay that goes over your mattress but underneath your sheets, and you can actually cool the temperature of your bed down to 65 to 69 degrees. That is the perfect temperature for it. The only biohack that I do, tends to be natural things. So I'm not popping a pill. I'm not having to listen to sound machines or all that kind of stuff. Generally, I do this. I wake up in the morning. I get as much natural sunlight on my skin within the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee after 2 p.m. I don't drink alcohol. I exercise in the morning. I sleep in an environment that's 65 to 69 degrees. I black out my curtains as much as possible. I wear a 100% silk eye mask, which my sleep company also produces at Swanwick Sleep. My sleep, I would describe it as being almost flawless. It's not flawless, but it's almost flawless.
Yeah. What about those times where it's a lot of, because being an athlete, I'm sure you're well versed in this as well. Is sometimes it's out of our control, right? Whether it be we got to grind it out and sleep on a bus, or we got to sleep in a Motel 6 on the road. Certain elements are kind of beyond our control. Or there's certain things that we can implement as athletes to really just do the best possible thing with what we're dealt.
So, could you just repeat the question? I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
No, so I mean, it's more of because I know the follow up to this would be because it comes down to when in the athlete realm, you know, like we can control what we can control, right? A lot of the things that are out of our control are like, you know, if we have an overnight game and we got to sleep on a bus, or if we got to go to a specific hotel, you know, that's not up to par. I guess the question would be, are there other things that we can implement to just really do the best with what we got?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're traveling and you're being jet lagged, for sure you want a pair of these Swannies glasses, because you can manipulate your body and mind into thinking that it's a certain time, right? So just as light manipulates us into thinking that it's daytime when it's actually nighttime, blocking the blue light, you can manipulate your body and brain into thinking that it's daytime. So remember, for hundreds of years, or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years probably, we lived by sunlight and moonlight and candlelight.
Yeah, circadian rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. And then when Thomas Edison mass-produced the light bulb at the turn of the century, the late 1800s, early 1900s, that's when fundamentally we started staying up later, and we started working under artificial light. So in terms of saying the cards that you're dealt, is, you know, you just got to make the best of it. I mean, if you're born in the 1900s, then you were born into a world where we're staying up later at night, you know, which is a lot different than the way it was for hundreds of thousands of years. So all we can do is try and manipulate our environment back to as close to, you know, what it was for all of that time. And the best way I know how to do it, at least in terms of sleep, is to just block that blue light at nighttime. Yeah,
totally, man. And those are like, so some of the things that I kind of implement in my day. We touched on like circadian rhythm, and I think a lot of people out there, they kind of know what it is a little bit, or, you know, they know the, like I said, outside looking in type thing. But, you know, really you hit on it with the first 5 to 10 minutes, like you're awake, like, you know, get out and take a walk in the sunlight, wherever. You know, those are some real things that truly do, like, I mean, personal experience, make you feel just a lot better. But so you mentioned something about coffee, and this is interesting because, like, I'm a huge coffee guy, and I know I should cut down. So are you strictly no coffee? Like, are you a guy that doesn't want to rely on anything to be yourself, or are you are you okay with coffee?
I'm okay with it. I don't drink coffee at the moment. I stopped in September 2018. I just decided that I didn't like the fact that I was, you know, really felt like I was needing it or wanting it in the mornings, and I don't like that. And plus, I was feeling a little bit agitated by it, to be honest. I was drinking kind of like the bulletproof coffee with some MCT oil and some grass-fed butter in it, and it, you know, it was good at suppressing my hunger and helping me not eat before noon, which was good for intermittent fasting. But I just didn't like the fact that I'd wake up and I was like, oh, I can't wait to have that first coffee. and my whole day would be dictated by it. And then a couple of days I had 2, even 3 coffees, and I'm like, ugh, this is the worst. What am I doing here? And so I just went cold turkey. I'm not saying I won't drink coffee again. I think a cup or 2 has generally been found to be okay. But I also think that everyone's different. You know, your genetic makeup is different to my genetic makeup is different to someone else's. And so, you know, I think you just got to trust your own body. But from what I have read and what I have seen and what I've heard and the studies that I've seen, you know, no more than a couple of cups of coffee a day, I think is you're going to be okay.
Yeah, it's about understanding yourself, and I think you can take another dive or another step into that. And like, I know there's companies like 23andMe that do the actual like genetic testing that can determine like what you metabolize fairly efficient and what you don't. You know, I'm one of those guys that I could have like 4 or 5 cups a day and I'll be fine. You know, it's weird, but it's understanding, you know, what is truly going to optimize your day. So like, because I mean, you got to be just mentally cognitive throughout your whole entire day, because I'm sure you just got tons and tons of stuff going on. So you mentioned intermittent fasting. What does that look like? Are you a 16/8 guy? Are you pretty strict with it?
Yeah, 16/8. Not strict. I'm kind of like 80-20, and that 80% of the time I do it right, 20% of the time I don't. I'm not. I don't try to be flawless with every. I mean, that's not true. I strive to be flawless, but I'm okay if I'm 80% of the time I'm getting things right.
Right. So, like, let's dive into your nutrition, man. Like, what are you doing nutrition-wise to optimize your life?
Well, I'm a paleo enthusiast, I guess you could say, which is just I eat like lean meats and vegetables. That works for me. I try to avoid, or I tend to avoid breads, pastas, rice, processed foods, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm actually on a very strict week-long paleo lifestyle at the moment. I just committed to some friends of mine. I said I'm going to eat flawless paleo style for the next 7 days. So I'm 24 hours in, and last night I went and had a big steak meal, but I got the steak, but I didn't get potatoes. I got sweet potatoes, and I got some carrots and some other things as well. So and then before that I was over at a friend's house, and she had some Coca-Cola in the fridge, and I rarely, if ever, drink Coke. Because it's got so much sugar in it, but she had bottled Coke, like it's and Coke out of a bottle just tastes so.
In the glass
good.
bottle.
In the glass bottle,
that's another level. Yeah, it's
so tasty, and so I drank that Coke. I said I'm gonna do this. I'm going to drink that Coca-Cola, and I did. And then, I enjoyed it too much that I said, I think I better go on a 7-day, strict paleo again.
Yeah, it's fun because I'm on I'm the most experimental guy when it comes to like nutrition. I've done the keto, I've done I still do the fasting. I right now I'm pretty much like strict on that carnivore game. Have you tried that yet?
What's that? Sorry.
The fad behind the carnivore diet.
Tell me a little bit more about it.
Basically, you just eat meat.
Oh no, I haven't. I don't go that hard. No. But so is it just meat and no vegetables?
Yeah, so it's like just meat. Like Dr. Sean Baker kind of made this thing like huge about, I want to say like a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and people are just seeing like some pretty crazy results. My thing is it's probably just just them focusing on meat cuts out all the other crap of their diet, right? Like the Western diet in general is just kind of flawed.
Yeah. So have you've been doing this?
Yeah. I did a 6-month experiment when it first hit. I think starting January 2018 all the way to the summer. Just felt good, and it's funny because we talk about like placebo, right? Like my thing with the placebo thing is like, who cares if it's placebo or not, right? Like there's such a big factor, and if you believe that it's working, you believe that you're feeling good, then you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my thing with that, but yeah, like I said, I'm just experimental. I did ketogenic for about a year. I kind of just branch off, and I haven't done paleo. I haven't done that yet. So paleo, can you like just briefly describe the basis of like what a paleo diet looks like?
I mean, it's just exactly the carnivore diet, except you just add some good fats and some vegetables. So that means, any vegetable known to man, and good fats, which means avocados, olive oil, raw nuts, grass-fed butter.
It's from the earth, right? Like whatever is from the earth, just not processed.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Simple enough. Cool, man. Well, I kind of want to dive into like one last thing, and then I'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy, but you spoke earlier a little bit about investing in a coach and a mentor. And this is kind of something that I talk a lot about my show, from the athletic side, but it could be all facets of life, like seeking other people that are wiser than you for help. So like, if you can, man, like brief, describe what that was like for you at that particular part in your journey, why'd you do it, and kind of like, what did you learn from utilizing somebody else, like a coach and a mentor?
Well, I was trying to figure it out on my own, and I was just struggling, quite honestly. And then I finally just decided to invest in a coach. I paid money, and he coached me. And as a result of that coaching, I created the 30-day no alcohol challenge, which helps social drinkers quit alcohol. And now I help entrepreneurs quit alcohol as well through my program called Project 90. And it was just as soon as I got a coach or a mentor, he gave me a blueprint. I just followed the blueprint. He supported me, encouraged me, pushed me, saved me time on many things, and it was just, it worked out great. So
yeah, it's funny too, because like I'm in that space too, where I think as alpha males, like we're so stubborn, right? Where we can think, hey, I could just do all this on my own. We have like YouTube and all this access to like technology that can basically give us an online course or whatever. But I mean, the reality of it is the people that are in that same space as that you want to be, that are doing it at a successful rate, like seek out those guys, right? I mean, would you say that would be fairly accurate?
Yeah, you want to get it's like you go to the gym, right? Like if you have a gym buddy or a trainer or a coach pushing you, you can lift an extra 10%, so find someone who's much more experienced than you, who's probably 10 years more experienced than you in what you want to do, and that's the best person, I think, to coach you on anything.
Totally. Love it, man. Well, I'll make sure to link all the links for you into the show notes so my audience can check you out and definitely check out those Swannies. But for my audience listening right now, man, I know you're a guy that could be found anywhere, but where specifically are you most found on the internet?
Yeah, so if you're interested in quitting drinking, you can go to either 30daynoalcoholchallenge.com or you can go to jamesswanwick.com/project90, and that'll help you quit alcohol. And then if you're interested in the Swannies blue light blocking glasses, you can check us out at swanwicksleep.com, SWANWICK, or you can just type in Swannies on Amazon or Swanwick on Amazon and you'll find us there. And then hit me up on Instagram at James Swanwick, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you got.
Love it, man. Well, speaking of that, I shot you a follow, man. So I'm tuned into you now. So you got another follower in me, that's for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. All right, James. Well, I appreciate your time on the Robby Row Show, man. I'll sign you off the air, but have a good rest of your day.
Thanks so much for having me, Robby.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, guys, that's another episode of The Robby Row Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was fun. I appreciate your guys' I don't know, what would you call it? Ears? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Whatever it is, I thank you. For you to show me your appreciation, you could do a huge favor for me in leaving a review for the show. It helps spread the awareness and helps reach people that haven't heard the show yet, just by leaving a review on whichever platform you listen to it on. You can leave a star review, you can leave a written review, anything helps at this point. And if you want to go the extra mile for me, go ahead and share it on your social media platforms. Just take the link to the episode or take the link to the show and share it. Because look, at the whole start of this, the foundation of this podcast was to reach the individuals, that necessarily didn't have that role model growing up, or that parent or that coach or whatever it was. It was to reach those guys, to provide them with the experience and the knowledge and the insight that my guests and I can provide. So, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Enjoy the rest of y'all's day. Much love. See ya.